Good evening, Rascal Enjoyers. I hope you're doing right, because it's time for the 48-hour analysis. Yes, just 2 days ago, all of these skins rotated into the Rust store, and basically, we're going to go ahead and look at their progress based on sales and try and figure out, is everything all right? Are these skins still looking to be perfectly fine investments? We're going to bring up all the context, and we're going to identify, is it all looking good, or are there too many problems that we need to be aware of? And, well, maybe we might want to just stick with doing a barter or something. Sounds good? Right, sit back and relax. Let's start yapping. So, technically speaking, this is the second week of Easter. This is a bit weird in terms of the Easter skins, but I'll talk more about that in a second. What are we currently looking at right here, though? This is a tweet. Well, this is actually the first 24 hours of sales. Basically, with every brand new Rust store that rotates in, 24 hours later, I'll go to summ.app, see the sales, take a screenshot, and I'll post it. And why do I do this? Well, we can make comparisons. So as you look over to here, we've had some previous Rust stores, of course. I'm sure you remember these. I didn't make one for Easter, but that didn't have a lot of interest, and I just thought, what's the point? So just to point that out. I'm sorry, but I did point that out last week, so you get the idea. Anyway, so what do we want to do? Well, first of all, let's just identify the likes of the Shadowborn garage door right here. 11,500 sales. We could make some comparisons to the likes of this garage door right here. Oh, yes. So what's so special? Well, basically, we know where that ended up at. Blocky Rig Garage Door, after the first 24 hours of sales, did 15,000 sales, of course, as you can see there with the subscriber count. That ended up with about 30,000, didn't it? So, I can't help but assume that I don't think we'll be seeing Shadowborn doing about 30,000. What else could we compare to? I mean, like, you got the likes of Skullforce Bandana here, which did just short of 11,000. We know that ended up with about 20,000 sales. So maybe, just maybe, Shadowborn might end up with a little bit higher, maybe about 22,000 sales, or not. Maybe we'll find out. But you kind of get the idea there. We can make comparisons, we can see. And so when you look at all of these other skins, you could compare to the likes of these from the previous weeks, and you could probably get a good idea where these skin totals might end up at by, next Thursday, just before the next Rust store rotation. So with that, why don't we go ahead now and look at the 48 hours of sales. So here we are. Now we'll just clarify, it is a little bit later. It's a few hours after 48 hours. I'm sorry, but I don't think you're going to notice that much of a difference. Now I just wanted to point this little detail out. Of course, you might remember last week we did in fact have the likes of the Easter skins, or rather Easter week 1. In total, after 7 days, it only did $185,000 in estimated revenue. And, well, with this Rust store right here, after the first 24 hours of sales, it did $200,000 of worth of sales. So 1 day of this beat all of last week. I know. So if you're questioning, why didn't they do more Easter skins for this week? You probably have the answer there. So does that make sense? Cool. So basically, yeah, we're going to jump in, look at these skins based on, in order of total sales. And then by the end of this video, you'll probably feel a lot more confident whether you might want to jump in and invest into some of these skins, or maybe just stick with doing a buy order. Sounds good? Right, let's jump in. So first skin to talk about, Shadowborn Garage Door. So what did I mention just over to here? This did 11,500 bare minimum sales. I made a comparison to the likes of this. Well, let's go ahead and look at that garage door right now. Let's go see how it's currently holding up. So if I look at all the garage doors, do notice at the moment in total we have 150 garage doors, all right? I'll talk more about that in a second. But yeah, Blocky Rig Garage Door, 29,967 subscribers. Yeah, that did almost 30,000 sales, and chances are it did, because we don't know how many people actually bought that. There's a lot of accounts out there that are private and not even noticed by SCMM, so take that and understand. Cool. So if we could just go back to the force wipe for March, you remember this, and I just wanted to point out, please don't forget what happened. What happened literally the very next week when this was accepted? Well, we saw another garage door being accepted. Blocky Rig sold for $2.49. This sold for $3, and that's already down by 35%. It's lost $1 value already. Oh. So, here's the problem. With the likes of garage doors, you should expect a lot of garage doors to be accepted, whether it's going to be in Rust stores or Twitch drops, alright? And I know we're going to have more Twitch drop events later this year. I know we're going to see garage door Twitch drops. These content creators can't help but put their face on a garage door. Look at me, yes, adore me. You get the idea. Anyway, I'm joking, but you get the idea. We will see some more garage doors as Twitch drops. It's fully expected. Right, anyway. So, main point. With last year, we had 28 skins being introduced. With the year before that, 28 skins as well, and many of them as Twitch drops. So, I just want to get this point across. That was a very cool looking garage door. That was a very cool looking garage door. This is a very cool looking garage door. This is it's not come out yet. but I'm pretty sure we're going to see another cool looking garage door. That's the point I'm trying to get across. So this ended up going slightly below its roster price, ever so slightly. It might be doing a fair bit better now because we know that's continuing as a set, so that's a nice positive thing for it. But this, it's all by itself, and unfortunately, yeah, it's lost its value. Even though this did about less than half the amount of sales this did. It only did it just under 15,000 sales, and yet still struggling. That's unfortunate. But we're here to focus this, and there's one thing I want to address to all of you. Whilst you might sit there and say, oh, that's a cool looking skin, wonderful artwork, glow in the dark, awesome. And, well, actually, let's look at the video. Video's a little bit more better to take a look at. There you go. Yep. Very nice, lovely piece of artwork produced by Vase and Cubist. I can't help but assume they're going to be putting out some very nice skins following this. And, well, speaking of, what did we see recently? I brought this up with the likes of my roster rotation video. Yes, there was a sheet metal double door that was produced. So this is being turned into a collection. You just got to sit and wait. You've got to keep an eye on the Rust Workshop. Yes, indeed. But yeah, I fully expect even more of these skins to be produced. But you have to keep an eye out on the Rust Workshop. So there's another thing that must be addressed. Just because the collection potentially looks very nice, and this might sell very well, there is no guarantee the next skins or the newer submissions are going to be accepted. Let's remind ourselves, last year with Vase's Porcelain collection. Vase put out some very interesting looking deplorables. There was the large box, the garage door, but there was also the rug, the sheet metal door. I think there was another one I can't fully remember. Sheet metal door, yeah. They all looked awesome, amazing, spectacular looking glow in the dark deplorables, but only 2 of them got accepted. And there was a ton of interest, many votes of support, I should say, but we only ever got 2. And they sold nicely. Yes, they did. They sold ever so nicely. 35,000 sales, but no more porcelain skins. So the main point is there's no guarantee. Even if we see some very cool looking Shadowborn deplorable skins being produced and on the workshop, they aren't definitive in being accepted. So please be aware of that. You could be hopeful, you could be praying, but face punch decides. I'm sorry to say it, but please be aware of that. Okay? Now, where is this potentially going to end up at? Well, with its $3.49 price, I can't help but assume it probably hasn't done that many sales because people who like to buy in excess, the same people who like to, of course, buy them with the pure intent to sell, this might be a little bit too pricey, so maybe they didn't buy that much, or maybe they're waiting until the last second. We shall see. But, yeah, please be aware of this. This can be both a positive and a negative. If it's a little bit too pricey, we probably won't see that many of them being bought, which, by all means, all the better for it to rise up in price in the future if there's only so many of them that were bought. But it starting off at a higher price, there's more chance for it to fail and go below its rust door price. And if you go through the years of the many garage doors that we've seen, you might notice that quite a lot of them are in the negative from the ones that started off at a higher price. And on, by default, garage doors sell for $1.49. Oh, well, there you go. $3.49, $3, $4, yeah, $3. So anyway, I'm looking at that. I'm thinking it's going to probably do about 22 to 23,000 sales. Because if I just quickly hop back over to here and remind myself, that bandana, that had about 10,000 sales, didn't it? After the first 24 hours. Well, it ended up with just about 21,000 sales. But back over to here with the likes of this did 11,500. I'm leaning towards the likes of that. Now, not just like doubling it from there, but I get the idea that that's where it's going to end up at. But I do still worry. So I'm going to wait until Wednesday. I'm saying my normal routine. You get the idea. But yeah, we're going to wait until Wednesday, see how many sales have happened, and then we're going to discuss a price to offer for it in terms of the buy order, the abnormal buy order. That skin right there is abnormal. And then after the abnormals, we'll look at it with its abnormal buy order support and consider if we actually want to jump in and buy some. But, of course, so as long as we keep an eye on the workshop and keep an eye on what potentially gets submitted, if there are more Shadowborn skins being produced, we'd lean more towards the positive, All right, maybe there is a collection that will be developed out of this. Maybe we should consider jumping in, because trust me when I say, if we do see more Shadowborn skins being produced and accepted, if we start to see the likes of a deplorable collection being built up, yeah, I would expect a lot of people to start, bumping up the demand with it, and the prices will follow. So keep an eye on it, all right? It's nice to be optimistic, but it's not always a guarantee. So, Shadowborn, you're interesting, but we've got to wait and see. And listen, guys, I'm looking at this with a financial perspective. If you happen to like the skin, by all means, buy it. Show your support to the skin creators. Buy it, use it, enjoy it, support the skin creators, keep them motivated, keep wanting to put out very nice creative designs in the future. You understand the whole spiel. So, consider looking at it, consider buying it. But in terms of looking at this, trying to make a profit, I'd rather wait it out until a little bit later on and get a good idea of all the details, then make my decision. Sounds good? Let's move on. Stone-based small box. So by default, when I looked at this, I just wanted to bring up all the small boxes that have come out fairly recently. We'll look at that. Do you see any of them in the positive? No. Scroll down a fair bit more. You got one there, part of a well-established tempered collection. You go over to here, you got the Neon Hearts box. That seems to be doing very nicely. Everybody loves pizza. Pizza box storage is doing okay. But the main point is the vast majority of these that are marketable are in the negative. Now, this right now, at the moment, has done 12,500 sales. After a few more sales, it's going to be the top-selling small box out of this year. But compared to all of these other skins over here, you do have the likes of the tempered small box. That did 31,500 bare minimum sales. You got the small rabbit box here that did about 19,000. You got the tall box here that did 18,700. Yeah, these numbers are where I think we're going to see the likes of this is going to end up at. Not 31,000, but these two. Sorry, I meant these two. Now, these two, right, they weren't very in demand. That's down by 45%. That's down by 33%. What about this? What could potentially be built up from the likes of this? Well, number one, I just want to point out, this is Mr. 38's first ever skin to be accepted. Congratulations to you, sir. But I did make a big fuss about how when this was shown on Twitter, a ton of people saw it, a ton of people interacted. There's tons of positivity. Loads of people adored it, loved it. They showed their appreciation. But it wasn't the first small box. This, in fact, was the second one. We do, in fact, have a wooden one. Now, this was submitted just before Easter, so awkward timing, I guess you could say. But the main point I'm trying to get across is I can't help but assume we'll see a version 2 of that. I cannot help but assume we will see another version 2 of that being submitted, or, just quite literally just be resubmitted probably some point in April, and maybe it gets accepted. Now, that got about like 10,000 views. The stone one got about 20,000 views, and as I said, plenty of people saw them, adored them, and expressed that they were definitely going to buy it. Well, I've only seen 12,500 sales so far. Where is everyone? Well, please remember this. The data we see from the likes of SCMM isn't 100% confirmed correct. SCMM can only see so many accounts, and there's also plenty of accounts out there that are hiding. They are private accounts, okay? So with the data we see here, I'm just clarifying that that's not definitive. So there very likely might already be 20,000 sales that have happened. I just don't fully know. But this is what we can work with. So I'm going to sit here and say this. I am skeptical. I would assume that a collection would help it out, but then there's another thing. If they're all small boxes, and I'm leaning with the idea of if we've got a wooden one potentially on the horizon, maybe there's going to be a sheet metal one, maybe an armoured one, who knows? But if they're all small boxes, are people going to want to get the full set, or are they technically going to be competing with each other? What do you reckon? Because maybe you only want the stone one, or maybe you only want the wooden one, or maybe you only want the sheet metal one. This is all hypothetical. We have to wait and see what actually comes out next. And I'll be honest with you, if this is going to probably do maybe about 18,000 sales, maybe about 20,000. Yeah, I think we're probably going to see we'll probably see it just shy of 20,000 sales. I'm still skeptical, and I'm not 100% confident behind it. I've bought small boxes somewhat recently, and it didn't work out very well, but I'm talking like a good year or so ago, so I think I might just stick with doing a barter. It is abnormal. We'll look at it Wednesday, we'll see the total sales, and we'll lean into the idea of, well, we'll figure out the price to offer, we'll do that, and we'll look at it afterwards and consider what we're going to do next. But I don't know. And the fact that I don't know and I'm not fully confident means I will just probably end up sticking with doing a barter. So we shall see, but again, keep an eye on the workshop and wait and see what potentially is put out in the future. Well, over the course of the next few days. Let's move on to the next thing. Black Diamond AK-47, produced by Mr. Bear Trip, the most successful skin creator in Rust in terms of total acceptances. He's made many awesome looking skins in the past. But there's a problem with this AK. Number one, how many AKs have we had so far this year? Let's just remind ourselves. Well, the answer is we've had 12 AKs in total, and we've just about wrapped up our third month. So I think we're on week 12, week 13. We've had an AK for every single week. Do you understand the problem here? Yeah, we will see plenty more AKs after this, and will it hold up to being very interesting, very nice? Now, pure black, very cool looking design. I will give credit to Mr. Bear Trip and of course Hulk. That looks very nice. We potentially might see a collection being built out of this. Now, I'll talk more about that in a second. Black aim sight. Now, that might not be favourable for a lot of people, but I also am aware a lot of people use the likes of Crosshair X, software for a nice crosshair. That rhymed. That was cool. Anyway, moving on. So basically, maybe that doesn't matter to a lot of people, but I will bring this up. Not too long ago, we already had another black AK-47 being accepted. And if I just quickly go over to here, type in Ninja AR, what do we see? There we go. This is half the price. Half the price of the Black Diamond AK-47, and, well, it's doing pretty good. And it's actually been climbing up in price. Like, it went down a fair bit since its release back in December, but since then, climbing. Even when this new AK came out, it's still going up. So, just to remind all of you, this is basically pure black as well. Get a good look at that. Very nice, very cool. When you aim down the sight, the face stares at you, which is really cool. But more specifically, that aim sight has a white aim sight. Now, I'm not 100% sure if everybody uses the likes of Crosshair X and whatnot. I get the idea, no. But that's probably a whole lot more helpful for all the people with the new nightlight system, at night time. So maybe that's just a better option for you, Instead of, spending $4.49, you might want to consider spending half the amount and probably getting a much better result. It's up to you. I mean, there's going to be preferences and, people are going to have different opinions, but I will just point this out. $4.49, that's a bit expensive. But, we do see things like this come out every now and then at those type of prices. So, looking at this, I consider, and, well, I don't think it's going to retain its value. But it's not exactly selling a ridiculous amount. And, well, if I were to go back over to here, and just remind you that this did about 7,800 bare minimum sales. What could we compare to? Well, we could probably look at the likes of where the Poncho ended up at. So let's go do that. Poncho did sell a fair bit more after the first 24 hours of sales, but it ended up with just about under 16,000 sales. So looking at the likes of this AK, maybe it ends up at about 17 to 18,000 sales. Maybe, possibly. We shall see. I get the feeling a lot of people probably didn't buy this in excess. Because, with that price, that's going to be a little bit hard. So I wouldn't assume a lot of people bought this with the pure intent to sell, or rather, a lot of people bought a lot of them with the pure intent to sell. That's what I should say. But that $4.49 price is a little bit worrisome, because is it actually going to do a good job in retaining that price? I don't know. And I will point this out. There's going to be another AK coming out, and another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. There's going to be plenty more AKs. We have far too many AK-47 skins, more specifically, far too many AK-47 skins to compare to. For $4.49, I could probably easily go buy 4 or 5 AKs. And I'm not joking. So at that price, if I just do this, just to kind of get the ball, get the idea across, if I go by highest price, at $4.49, it's already one of the more expensive AKs that exist. Yep, and then when you scroll down, you start seeing a ton of red. Oh no. So, the answer is, will that retain its price? I don't really think so. With the price, with the amount of sales it's going to end up with, I can't help but assume it's going to have a bit of a problem. But here's one thing that I should just quickly address to all of you. I just showed you the Ninja AR, right? Okay, cool, yeah. I just want to point out that Ninja AR was the top selling AK-47 skin that was ever, accepted. That did bare minimum about 45,000 sales. The highest selling skin ever. And yet, right now, it's doing a fair good job in terms of retaining its value. Sold for $2.49, right now, selling for $2.37. People like this. Do they really want to drop that, spend a little bit more to get the exact same thing? What do you reckon? Well, at the moment, with this many sales, probably, but will that still be favourable, or will people just stick with the likes of the Ninja AR? We shall see. So, it's abnormal. I don't have to rush into buying it. The main point I'm trying to get across is, if that ends up with about 17 to 18,000 sales, I am a little bit questionable. And I will bring this up. With all the recent AK-47 skins that we've had, some of them did sell for a high price. This El Diablo AR sold for $3.49. Well, now it sells for 99 cents. That Mythical Dragon AR sold for $3.49. Well, now it sells for $1.20. Do you get the idea? They got cheap. Now, Thunder God's doing all right, but it's got a well-established collection. But that's another thing I should have addressed. And I did kind of briefly mention it earlier. At the moment, Bad Trip, what's he currently working on? Not much. I can't help but assume maybe we're going to see a brand new collection of Black Diamond weapons. Maybe more. Maybe it develops into some maybe some deplorables, maybe some clothing and armor. But, he's still technically working on the likes of Black Gold Collection. And every now and then we do see Black Gold skins being submitted to the workshop and whatnot. So, what can we do? Keep an eye on the workshop. The smart thing to do is wait till Wednesday, look at the total sales. I will be streaming then, so look in the description to see my details. We will discuss this, but I think I will be just sticking with a buy order. I can see it doing a pretty good job in retaining some of its value, but I don't think it's going to retain all of it. Now, who knows, but I think with the amount of sales it's going to end up with, it's going to be a bit hard for it to manage to hold it up. So, cool. Let's just keep an eye on that and we'll move on. So, we've got the Soullight armor door right here. Now, that's currently selling for $4, and it's sold just as much, if I can quickly go over to here, sold just as much as the AK, yeah. So this armor door very likely will sell just about as much as this, 17 to 18,000 is the idea. Now, if I were to just look at all the armor doors that exist, you might notice a bit of a problem with the most recent ones. Yeah, they're not doing very well. It's a question of, how often are you even using an armor door? Do you even get to that point? That's the main thing, So where's the justification in owning a skin? Now, if I were to do this real quickly, highest subscribers, where's that currently standing? Well, it's kind of in the middle at the moment, but it's got a few more days in the Rust store, and I did say maybe it's going to do about 18,000 sales. So if we just quickly hop to here, yeah, it might be in the upper half. It might be almost one of the highest selling armored doors. But as we look at all of those armored doors right there, does that seem very appealing? Probably not. Now, I did make a comparison to the likes of this armored door from hell, which also sold for $4. Well, right now, it's only selling for $3, but we just had the likes of the Easter dip. And I will just point this out, I have noticed many skins are actually starting to recover, and I think you can see it right here as well. Look at that. Yeah. It was going down in price since January, but it stops going down in price after some point, and it's actually trending upwards now, leading towards summertime. All right, so what did I say when I discussed this with the Rust or rotation video? When times are good, you see the skin selling quite nicely. But when times are bad, it goes down. It's very straightforward. The main point I'm trying to get across is, can't help but assume the exact same thing will, follow with this. The exact same behaviour. Now, just to point out, this is a cool looking design. One side's the good, bright, white side, and the other side's the dark, evil side and whatnot. So, cool, awesome. That's very nice. That's a very cool idea, a very cool theme. Will that be appreciated forever? I mean, I can see it working out quite all right. Is this potentially going to get built up into a deplorable collection? Could that be pulled off? You could have a cool looking sheet metal double door, maybe. Maybe. We shall see. But looking at that, actually, no, you'd probably have an armor double door, wouldn't you? Looking at that, I think it's just going to basically be exactly the same as the door from hell, which would mean I'd just stick with doing a buy order. And that's basically the answer I leaned in with, the likes when I did my Rust or rotation video. If there's going to be potential problems, just stick with a buy order. But based on the behaviour we've seen in the past with other armoured doors, more specifically the From Hell one, yeah, you probably just want to stick around with doing like a $2 to $2.50 buy order. Now, we'll see how many sales happen by Wednesday, but the expectation is 17,000 to 18,000. Sounds good? Well, let's move on then. Cyber pants and cyber hoodie. I didn't have a lot of confidence with this. What I will point out though is the cyber skins, the previous ones that came out, they are still doing a fairly decent job in retaining their value. These tier 3 pieces actually went up higher, but I don't expect it to hold. When this rotates out of the Rust store, these hoodie and pants, can't help but assume all of this will go back into the negative. I did sell a lovely batch of tier 3 armor pieces. I walked away with some profit. I don't want any of that. I don't want to get involved with that anymore. Sorry to say. But we've already had Hardsuit being completed somewhat recently. We've already had Damascus being completed very recently. And now we had this. Now, the next question is will there be anything else that could come out that could get this a boost? Yes, the boots and gloves. But there was a submission not too long ago and they weren't accepted. Maybe we'll see a version 2. Wouldn't surprise me. Will they be accepted? Not 100% sure. But I don't have a lot of faith in the likes of this. So let's just quickly remind you, Hardsuit collection, how you doing? And the answer is, not well. Not well. Oh, that's another metallic set. What about Damascus? Now, Damascus, I do believe the first 4 skins are still doing quite all right. But yeah, it's the other ones. Oh, helmet's still doing a fair bit, all right, and the kilt's retaining, but they're doing all right. But these sold a little bit too much in comparison to these 4 skins, and these have suffered because of it. But at the moment, you still see some of these in the positive. So, But I look at the likes of these. These did not seem to have as much demand. These did not seem to have as much like sales in total. I actually know they did here. I still stand by my point. I don't have as much faith with this, so I'm going to take a step back. You can sit there and say, ha ha ha, Cybertruck and whatnot, but is that going to really hold value because of that? I don't think so. Now, you might sit there and say, but could I still buy these and try and flip them for a profit? I mean, you can do a barter if you so wish, but how cheap will they potentially get? Let's go see the likes of the Tier 3 armor. What was their lowest point? Because I do believe these were selling for 50 cents at one point. So, as I scroll down over to here, what do we see? Look at its history. And its lowest point, well, that was 50 cents right there in February. We did have the likes of all the skins come out, but, when the Tier 2 came out, after a while, this Tier 3 went back down all the way over to here to 50 cents. That was literally 2 weeks ago. But then, of course, we've got the hoodie and pants being accepted. Okay. But what happens when it's out of the Rust store? It'll probably go back down to 50 cents again. So, yeah. Oh, and chest. We can look at the chest as well. If Steam wants to show it to me, I don't think... Oh, there you go. All right, thank you, Steam. Thank you. Oh, I'm still trying to sell them. Oh, no. But look over to here. Same thing. 50 cents here. And then 50 cents here. Actually, it was cheaper. It was 40 cents at one point. Oh. So, yeah. Don't think it's going to last. Don't think the boots and gloves will make that much of a difference. I would probably just avoid it. I'll look at it again on Wednesday, because these are abnormal, but I think I am just going to probably avoid them. So that's my answer. Let's move on. Blackberry Rock. Cool looking rock. It's nice to see that this collection might be built up into something pretty interesting, but it's a glow-in-the-dark rock, and that potentially could be a problem. So I just wanted to quickly bring all of this up. How many glow-in-the-dark rocks have we had in the past? You've got one there, Rock from Hell. Down pretty bad at negative 67%. You got the Scarecrow Rock, negative 28%. You've got the likes of the North Rock, negative 10. You've got Obsidian Rock, negative 9. You've got the Rooted Rock, negative 4. Have you noticed a bit of a trend here? They're not doing very good in retaining their value. No. You got Pumpkin Rock, but that's fairly old, and I think it was no, it wasn't the first ever glow-in-the-dark rock, was it? No, because you had Hot Potato and whatnot. But yeah, these are like vintage. These are old. So yeah, for them to be valuable, it's not too surprising. And then you look at the ones over here, there's a lot more of these that exist and in circulation. So yeah, they struggle. So looking at that, it's done how many sales so far? 6,500. That's not too bad. Where's it going to likely end up at? Well, if I quickly hop back over to here. First 24 hours of sales was 4,400. Can I make a comparison to anything else? Maybe not there. What about over here? Well, we had that facet sheet metal door, and we also have the Skullforce AK-47. All right, maybe we can make a comparison to that. So let's go hop over to here, and let's go to 2 weeks ago. Where did that AK-47 end up at, and where did the sheet metal door end up at? 10,000 sales and about 11,000 sales. All right, cool. So we got a pretty good idea of where this might end up at. 10 to 11,000 sales. Even then, glow-in-the-dark rock, problem. You don't want people to see you at night time, and a glow-in-the-dark rock isn't going to do any favours. So unfortunately, I do worry for it. I can't help but assume that's going to lead to potential problems. I might just do a 60 cent to 80 cent buy order. Worst case scenario, I turn it into metal. Yeah, so I'm going to look at that Wednesday, have a better informed decision by then, but at the moment that's what I'm leaning towards. That is abnormal, so just to clarify, that is abnormal. Keep an eye on it, but yeah, even then, might avoid that one. Jungle Sar, how you doing over here? So, Jungle Sar, nice and colourful. We've had a lot of SARs come out somewhat recently, though. I do have to point it out, but useful aim sight, looks pretty cool, but it's pretty colourful. Is that something you want? Is that something you're going to appreciate? Well, it's up to you. But as I did clarify, or rather mention, yeah, we've had quite a lot of SAR skins this year. In total, we've had, 9 so far? That's quite a lot. It's quite a lot. You might say, oh, Carrot Blaster's doing very well. Well, it only recently just became available, and there's only 5 of them on the market, apparently. I think this might have been bought out, as in cleaned out. Maybe people simply aren't listing it at a cheap price. I'm skeptical of that. We'll have to keep an eye on it. But when you look over to here with the buy orders, it simply isn't adding up, is it? Although someone did do that $1.62 buy order. That's a bit fishy. Huh? There's no demand for it, and then suddenly there is demand for it. I think we might be noticing something naughty there. Anyway, with the likes of this Jungle Saw, at the moment, it's only got 4,000 sales. It's going to probably end up just short of 10,000 in total. But, oh, I should have showed you this. All the other SARs that came out over the past year or so. Come on. There we go. Yeah, they're not doing super great. That's also getting cleaned out, bought out. Yep. There's a lot of SARs that seem to be getting some pumps. Keep an eye out for this. But aside from those two, look at all the other ones. Yep, not doing super great, are they? So by default, I'm going to sit here and say 60 cents to 80 cents. But I want to see how many sales have happened. But I still think it's going to be a little bit 50-50. I would probably just stick with doing a 60 cent to 80 cent buy order. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Will that potentially be turned into a collection? Well, does it really matter? Weapon-only collections don't really tend to do a very good job of retaining their values, so sorry to say, but yeah. And you got these two Easter skins here. Yeah, no. No, I'm sorry to say, but they're very gimmicky for Easter, and holiday theme skins that are very gimmicky for, well, you know, their holiday. Well, what happens when it's not Easter? Yeah, I don't think people are going to be wanting to use these during the likes of the rest of this year. You never know. Maybe the sheer lack of sales could probably give them an interesting future, but I'll be honest with you, it's not something I'd rely upon. At most, I'd probably offer 50 cents for each, and even then, I don't think I really want to do that, because the amount of profit I can make from that probably wouldn't matter. Like, trying to get the point across, if they end up being like 54 cents or 55 cents, I'm not going to really make that much profit or anything, or hardly any profit, to be honest. So we could look at it on Wednesday, but I'll be honest with you. So yeah, it is what it is. So, with all of that, I'm optimistic that these are going to do very nicely, but I'm also pessimistic that there could still be problems. Now, all of these other skins, I don't expect much out of them. So, it's more of a case of what comes out next in the future. And we are looking towards the likes of the summer from now on, aren't we? Because, I'm sure many of you are aware, we are going to have the summertime. Around May time, I do believe all the Americas, all the kids in North and South America, probably just North America to be honest, summer vacation will be taking place. And, well, I get the feeling that maybe we're going to see the player count starting to rise up ever so nicely. So if you can remember the likes of last year, it goes down a fair bit and it boosts up very, very nicely from May, June and July. And with the very interesting updates we're having on the horizon, so if I could just quickly remind ourselves, scroll down over through here from the various amounts of things that I've seen. Come on, Alistair, where's your tweet? There it is. Yes, lots of things coming for the April Force wipe. I can't help but assume over the course of these next few months we're going to be seeing some very, very interesting new details, new monument changes and potential monuments. And of course, at some point we have to see that brand new biome. There's going to be a lot of curious people jumping in, getting a good look, and, well, if they want to stick around, more people will be playing, more people will be craving skins, and, of course, potentially, our skin prices will improve. Now, you know, we always talk about this, we always talk about a potential nice thing on the horizon, nice time on the horizon. We shall see. Anyway, so, you can stay optimistic, but one thing I do want to get across is, I have noticed prices are improving. So I could quickly look at the likes of Bombshell Garage Door, and, well, you might notice this is selling for a fairly decent price of $6. Oh. So as I look over to here, look at its trends, and what do we see? Ever since January, it went up in price. Kind of went down a fair bit, not an insane amount, but it did trend downwards. But recently, towards the end of February, went up, went down a bit, went back up, and it's currently moving upward. That's that garage door. Earlier, we did mention the likes of the AK-47, the Ninja AR. That was trending upwards. What about Locker from Hell? How you doing, buddy? Haven't seen you for a while. Did you go down a price around just after January and starting to go up recently? Well, 74 quantity on the market seems pretty nice. And as I go over to here, well, you haven't really gone down at all. You've just been trending upward. Huh. Well, you stagnated here for a while, but you are trending upwards. Now, it might not look like it's going up by that much, but it is trending upwards. It might be a slow process, but once we get a lot of people appearing around the summertime, Well, there you go. More people who want skins. Grab all of them. The quantities go down and the prices improve. So, yeah, summertime is a good time for skins. Summertime will be having a lot of people. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I can look at these and I can see things are improving. What about the Jackhammer from Hell? Currently, right now, this is selling for about $2.60 almost. But as I look over to here, it went down a fair... Oh, sorry. It went down a fair bit. And it stopped. And now it's starting to trend upwards. Yep. A lot of skins look exactly like this. Now, I should point this out. We are still yet to see the likes of the 75% discount for the sticker capsules in the CS2 Major, but the final is tomorrow, between Na'vi and FaZe, so that's going to be really interesting. But in about a week or two's time, the 75% discount will drop. So initially, you might see some prices probably go a little bit awkward, maybe for a week or two. We shall see. But I think we're already past the worst of it, all right? I think we're past the worst of it. I think from here and now, prices are just going to gradually improve. And well, so as long as you keep an eye on everything, you'll be all right, hopefully. But yeah, you got to monitor this. You got to keep an eye on things. I should also point out, Dragon Rocket Launcher is doing pretty well, isn't it? Like, we were very skeptical about this when it first came out. It was in the Rust store for 2 weeks, don't forget about that. But right now, only 74 on the market, currently pushing up to $10. It's only been trending upwards. It did initially dip for a fair bit, but it's only been up since then. So, yeah, even that's having a pretty good time at the moment. But we don't get many rocket launcher skins, do we? So, everything lined up perfectly for you. Oh, another one just got bought out. He was probably listening to me. Well, there you go. It's working. It's working. So, yeah, things do seem to be recovering a fair bit. Things do seem to be doing better. And, well, that's a positive thing to be aware of. So, yeah, maybe we are now past the worst of it. And maybe from here and now, we actually see some nice rises in price for our skins. Post-Christmas 2024 was not good. Will the summertime make up for it? I'm crossing my fingers and hoping so. So we could quickly go ahead and look at the past few weeks. So as much as I can talk about the likes of all of this, at the end of the day, I don't think there's actual genuine interest in the likes of these skins. But looking at some of the prices for some of these skins, seeing it there, right there, I don't think that's legitimate. Leave it for 2 weeks and look at it again. And we'll see. So maybe I'll come back to that in a future 48-hour analysis. But over to here for the March 14 Rust store. We looked at this several times. Seeing that at $1.99, are you kidding me? What's going on here? Well, I don't think many people bought this skin. And everyone who actually is trying to sell it is refusing to sell it below $2. And from what I can see there, with how close those listings are, yeah, I think that's exactly the case. Problem is, no one's actually chasing after it, with the highest buy order being 65 cents. So, oh, actually, hang on a minute, what's happened here? Someone actually done like a pump? Something fishy's going on there. 35 sold at 67 pennies, my currency, which would equal to about 80 cents. Maybe it was just dumped to the highest buy order. Maybe. I had to keep an eye on that. But yeah, I don't think that's going to actually be worth anything. I do believe that will gradually go down to a point where it never really recovers. Now that furnace is doing alright. Maybe the continuation that appeared helped it out. So let's just quickly go ahead and look at that right now. As I said, $2.67. And yeah, it looks like some people did jump in and buy some when that rock came out. Cool. So yeah, went up a fair bit. I was optimistic for its interior, and well, maybe that's also contributed to its retained value. So we'll see how that performs during the likes of the summertime. Let's go over to the week before this, and well, we already saw this a little bit earlier, didn't we? That garage door is going down a little bit. It's not completely ruined, but it's going down a little bit. These boots and gloves worked out perfectly fine. They're doing good, and as we lead towards the summer, that's only looking to do even better. Now, the likes of the Skullforce bandana and poncho aren't doing very well, down 27 and down 30. But on the horizon, potentially for the April Force Wipe, we could get burlap clothing. If that happens, pretty sure they're going to do so much better. Kokloma small box, down 21%. Small boxes. That AK-47, it's an AK-47. And the Imperial Thompson, pumped up to $8 with 100 sales. Don't forget that happened. But it's down to $1.35. Wow. So how many of these are actually on the Steam market? As we look over to here, 45 quantity. Well, just looks like hardly anyone's actually interested in it. So it hasn't really done a good job in actually staying up in price. And just for the sake of it, here's February 29, and well, yeah. Why is that price? Why is that doing good? Don't know. You might say, oh, because it's the continuation, but that isn't a positive, but not that. Strange. And then February 22, let's go see this as well. Yeah, Flashback Sodium Pants, they went down in price again. So loads of people were very optimistic that we could potentially see the likes of a continuation appear for this current Rustore that we have. But a lot of people neglecting that they very likely might get a continuation this April Force White next week. Yes. So right now, come on, show your price. Not euros, I want it in dollars. Thank you, $1.80. They went up and then they went back down. But I'm pretty sure if we do see a continuation, whether it's tier 3 or tier 2, it will probably double in price. And if you just look at all the listings like that, yeah, there's a 25 there. That's an idiot. You should never do that, mate. It's pure green. Never mind, I won't ramble. But basically, I'm pretty sure this guy's very dumb. If we do see those continuations, it could easily rise all the way up to about $4 and potentially beyond. So stay optimistic, keep an eye on the workshop, and we shall see what potentially is going to be added over the course of these next few days. Thank you very much for watching me, guys. I do appreciate it. I hope that was nice and insightful for all of you. But yeah, enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the Easter weekend if you partake in that. And yeah, catch you later. See you, goodbye.